I'm Scott Fishman,
I'm John Dwoskin.
and this is the 7-Minute Salesman.
Welcome, everybody.
Hey, Johnny, what's going on?
Fish, how are you? Good morning.
Doing great today. I've got this delicious Entenmann's coffee. It's the bomb.
It looks, it sounds good. It sounds really good. I had Entenmann's all the time growing up as a kid. I haven't had it in years, though.
For some reason, you're at your house having the Entenmann's cake. I believe it. I don't know why. I feel like that was a thing. How about Haagen-Dazs?
We always had, no, not so much Haagen-Dazs, but Entenmann's always growing up. Do they even sell it anymore? I don't even ever really see it.
I'm not sure, but the coffee is, as the kids say, fabu.
Enjoy. All right, so Fish, where should you kick us off today?
Well, today, folks, we're going to circle back on something. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the fact that during COVID, with everyone working from home, we kind of forget that everybody is actually working. Like, if you hadn't worked remotely before, you are walking into your living room or walking into your couch, or sitting on your couch, and working. You're not in, a cubicle setup. You're not in your normal office setup. You're not in the sales pit. And it's different.
Yeah.
And folks kind of forget that they actually are working, and it's tough. I can tell you, just a side note, for years I worked from home, and my wife also had the ability to work from home, but she hated it because she would walk by the counter and she'd see a speck of dirt. Next thing you know, she's cleaning, or she would be doing laundry, or she'd be doing this. And now with, circling into this new system of working remotely, she's actually doing great, but it's taken a lot of effort and a lot of a paradigm shift for her to actually figure this out.
Yeah. And I think also because we have less time driving and in between meetings and, things of that nature, we have more time to think. And sometimes, that thinking can get us in trouble, thinking about other things we need to do at home that we typically wouldn't do, like you're talking about with Beth, before or after business hours. And think about things like, of reasons why people haven't called us back, and say, and kind of create fake narratives in our head that hold us back and prevent us from actually doing what we need to do.
Right. I love that. The fake narrative. That's actually really big. And I think that's kind of the gist of this episode, folks, is remember, you're in sales, be consistent. That's the key is keep trying, keep prospecting, keep asking for the business. There's so much there. And like we talked about in our last episode, a lot of people are kind of kicking their feet up. You can take advantage right now.
Yeah. Well, I would venture to think, and a lot of salespeople that I talk to, and what I hear on the street is, I think salespeople feel a little bit more insecure right now. Insecure because people aren't calling them back, and or people want to have longer conversations than ever before when they're ready to have have those conversations. And so I think we always have to remember that you have to call somebody, 16, 17, 18, 20 times, and they may not call you back, but it's our responsibility as a salesperson to keep on calling unless they tell us otherwise. Right? I mean, the follow-up is absolutely key. We have to remember that people are not only doing their jobs, but they're managing their family, they're managing their own kind of, well-being. And there's so many different things that we have to kind of fall into and surrender to, I think, the insecurity, and just keep on doing what we know is best for the client, and keep on, as you said, follow up consistently, because there's business there. We just have to hunt a little bit harder.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the fact that you said, what'd you say, anxiety, the nervousness, something that you mentioned. There should
insecurity.
Be the insecurity. You should have that. We've talked about it before. When you are about to close, you should have this feeling in the pit of your stomach, like, I'm going to put myself out there. Yeah. And the buyer should have a feeling in the pit of their stomach, like, I'm about to make a big decision. We should never lose that. Like, that's the excitement. Like, It's like asking a girl out, right? Like, they say yes, and you're like, you come back, I got the number, all right. But it's it's that feeling of actually like doing something, putting yourself out there, achieving something, and hopefully winning.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about this a lot on the show, and this is echoing some of the things we just talked about, but it's just getting out of your own way. And I think one of the greatest ways to get out of your own way is to have an accountability partner and have something that is, whether it is a, under 5 minute huddle every day where you can get somebody to help you focus, get rid of distractions, and shift your mindset into the right space.
Yeah. I love the accountability partner, the
Yeah.
mentor, have a protege, someone you could lean on,
Right.
someone you could vent to. It's huge, especially right now because people are feeling things that they've never felt before in
Yeah.
business. They really are. And it's a crazy time. And definitely remember that you're not alone.
Yeah. And I think it may start to get a little bit harder. I mean, here we are in Michigan, Labor Day is around the corner. Nights are it's getting darker earlier, and it's getting darker later later in the morning. And we're going to be losing that sunlight, and we're going to be losing activities that we can get out and do as the fall and the winter hit. And so it's going to be that much more important to really kind of stay focused and not get, not fall into a bad space. And I think it's going to be easy for a lot of people to fall into a bad space. I mean, I find myself already trying to figure out like, all right, there's no place to play golf. There's no place to play tennis. Everything is going to be closed. Mm-hmm. And so where's kind of the outlet to clear my mind, right? To clear my mind so I can actually focus on what needs to be done. Any thoughts on it?
Is that why you asked me to start a fight club?
Yeah. I bet we may see more of those. What happens at Fight Club? Wait, what's the 3 rules of Fight Club? Right.
Yeah. What happens at Fight Club? Or you don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, you don't talk about Fight Club. No, but seriously, I think that's a big thing. And I think for salespeople around the corner, as you're prepping, August is a really important month to stay in the game and to figure out, how you're going to get your mind in the game over the next couple months, kind of pre-planning that.
Right, for sure. So I thought about a few things that I jotted down as we were talking, and something that kind of struck me was something I wrote down. This is a quote. I'm going to put it on a T-shirt. Maybe it'll be the name of your next book. Who knows? They may need you. Obviously we have a product that's going to help them, but
right.
You need them because they're going to exist without you. But if you don't sell them and you don't acquire their business, you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
So yeah, they may need you, but you really need them.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be calling you. You need to hunt them down. You need to get that business. You need to ask for the business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and there's different ways of asking, and there's different ways of, there's the phone, there's Zoom, and then, there's different ways of getting in front of clients, I should say. But if you are not able to ask, 3, 4, 5 times for the business or more, then that's a skill set you got to grow. And I mean, we've talked about it before, and you mentioned it earlier, double your business, double your asks. But it's really, really important, and people are going to need to be led and asked. Those are the types of rich conversations. I think when they pick up the phone, they want to be, I don't want to say they want to be sold, but they want to be asked questions that are going to get them to the answers that they're on the search for.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. If they don't have any interest, they're going to be off the phone with you immediately. Right.
Yeah.
It's something to think about. If they're actually willing to talk to you, they have a need. I did that whole training series about if they're on the phone, they want a loan.
Yeah.
Or, at my office, and they keep replaying that one, by the way, because it's such a poignant message that if they're engaging with you, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't walk into a shoe store if you don't have a need for shoes.
Yeah.
There's a reason. You don't go to the hardware store if you don't need a hammer. Well, maybe you don't need a hammer. Maybe you need a screwdriver, but you know what I mean? You get the gist there, Johnny. So think about that. And that leads me to something that I've always said. It's always a yes until it's a no. And I think sometimes what we do as salespeople is, you talked about building that false narrative in our head. In our eyes, it's a no before it's a yes.
Yeah.
But it's already a yes until they tell you no, because if they haven't picked up the phone, you have to assume it's a yes because you haven't talked to them. They haven't told you no. If they haven't hung up on you or, told you to screw off or whatever, it's still a yes. If they set a second appointment with you or say, call me back tomorrow, it's still a yes. Until they tell you no, it's a yes.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up two great things. I mean, I love that. And if they're on the phone, they want a loan. I mean, it's so fundamental. It's so simple. It's complicated. So what are like some of the highlights of that training?
Basically, it's just be assumptive, number one. So assume that they want it. I talk about the same guy we've talked about here, the best salesperson in America. His line is pick up or delivery.
Yeah.
Legit.
Pizza guy.
Because he's literally assuming you're buying a pizza. He answers the phone and he's like, I know these people want a darn pizza and I'm selling it. So that's the number one most assumptive salesperson there is. But really just
But I have a comment on it. I have a comment on assumptiveness because, we're talking about asking, we're talking about being assumptive. If you at Home Depot, they have, I can't remember if we talked about this on the show before, but they have 4 checkouts, right? They have the normal checkout, the garden checkout, the self checkout, and then I think the construction checkout. I can't remember the name. Do you know which checkout line sells the most warranties?
No.
The self-checkout sells 37% more warranties because they just ask. It's like they're a computer. They ask, they assume the person wants it. There's no hesitation, and then boom. And then since credit card machines, you know how when you fill that, you type, you sign off on the iPad or whatever, and it says, want to leave a tip? Tips are up 1,100% just because the computer asks.
Wow.
And so when you're talking about being assumptive, computers can be assumptive very easily and just ask. So if they can do it, human beings can do it. We just get in our own way.
Wow. I can tell you, we got a couple friends who haven't started tipping anymore. I'm not gonna shout you out, fellas. You cheapskates.
That's great. Anyway, so I didn't mean to break your stride. I just thought that was relevant for what you were talking about.
John, ain't nothing going to break my stride. Nothing's going to slow me down. So couple quick things that I also wrote down here that I think is big, and it plays right into what we're talking about, guys. Is it's your job to call back. Don't assume they're going to call you. You're the salesperson.
Yeah.
So you might have sold the shit out of them, but don't expect them to jump in that damn boat. Like, go for it. Ask for the business. Just like John said, just because they ask for the warranty, and literally it's a button that you press.
That's it.
Instead of somebody saying, would you like the warranty? And they actually, like the machine actually that says 10 words on a screen actually sells better than a human being. What the F?
Yeah.
Ask for the damn business. And then that's the very next piece I wrote down was, it's your job to ask for the business.
Yeah.
Don't expect them to say, well, what are the next steps, John? This sounds great.
Right. I echo that. Your job to ask and your job to keep on calling back over and over and over again. Keep on. And the only thing I'll add to that is, as you call back, add some value, and bring some value. And if you don't, just keep, but no, even if you don't, keep on calling back. Be there for the client for when they're ready, and then they'll pick up.
I love it. I think this is a great place to kind of cut this one off, John. Yeah. I will say this is a lot of fun. If anyone knew the behind the scenes on this one, they'd probably think we're buffoons.
Right. This was the first one in a while we've had to do like start over three or four times. Yeah. That typically doesn't happen. But yeah. Well, great. Well, Fish, thanks. Always fun doing this with you. And thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And for Christ's sake, to our friends who don't leave tips, just leave a damn tip. You know who you are.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Now, no excuses. It's time to put everything you listen to into action. Stop bullshitting yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop listening and doing nothing with this information. Take this information, implement it into your day, kick some ass, grow your business, grow your sales, make more money, have more fun, have a better life, period, the end.
What he said.